How's it going, everybody? My name is Blitzwinger, ladies and gents. It is time to cook up another Lego recipe, and today we're heading to the sea, I guess, to the ocean, really. It's time for some seafood. Okay, this is getting a little weird, this whole analogy, because it's like, well, we're not actually eating any of these characters, because that would be bizarre. So with that in mind, though, of course, ladies and gents, we are going to be building Aquaman today, and hopefully we can do a good job with that character. We've already built Deadpool, Thanos, Anti-Venom, and of course today we are going to attempt our very own take on Aquaman, and hopefully we can do a good job with this particular character. Now, of course, like always, guys, don't forget, if you do enjoy today's episode, please consider hitting that like button. That's always very, very highly appreciated. But in addition to that, I would also very much appreciate if you could take a moment to let me know what other characters would you like to see recipes for. I know that there's been quite the demand for a certain character by the name of Cable, and then a certain character by the name of Spawn. So those are probably going to be upcoming recipes just because there have been enough demands for that character, but let me know if there are any others that you personally would like to see. So with that in mind, ladies and gents, let's get to cooking up our take of course, Aquaman. So we're going to start things off by changing the face first and foremost, and there really are quite a few options that you could go with, quite a few selections available to you. I personally like this one right here because it's got the lighter colored eyebrows. And by the way, we're doing the comic book version of Aquaman, so I know obviously if you're going to do the Jason Momoa version in the films, it's going to be very different to what we're building today. But we're going to build the comic book version, which means the orange and green outfit. That's what we're going for. We're not going for the kind of gold and dark green and crazy long hair, that Aquaman that we saw in the Justice League film, and we're going to be seeing in the Aquaman movie. So hopefully that's clear enough now, and that settles things, so to speak. All right, so we've got the yellow hair figured out, which is excellent. So that is very good. Then we are going to go on ahead and recolor the hands, because those are, again, these are the sort of things that are sort of very easy. So you got a couple of different shades of green. I think we're going to go with the dark green. Not actually, light green looks pretty cool, doesn't it? And then, of course, we've got the face, body, hips, and so on and so forth to go. So I think let's do the hips first. And then hips, moving to the legs, which we're going to go on ahead, and there's actually quite a few selections in green, I should say. Like, you could do stuff like this where it's kind of mixed color, like green and yellow, or even like something like that if you want for like a little bit of extra texturing. Unfortunately, there isn't anything that has scales. That sort of does, I guess. It's kind of a scaly design, but it's got the holsters, which really just takes you out of it. But there really isn't anything that's like scales and fitting the design. This is just way too bright of a green, so I would have used that honestly if it was darker green, just a couple of shades darker, and it would have honestly probably worked out just fine and would have been a pretty solid choice. But instead, we're going to go on ahead and use this one right here. And I know that typically he's got all green legs, so the usual one that you would see for him would actually be something just like this. Like, you would go in here, and then you would just go plain green, like that. Which does look okay and pretty decent, but I don't know why. I just like the idea of him actually having, like, a boot component to the legs. So I think that this one works a tiny little bit better, and it gives us that little bit of extra detail for the attire. Now, this is the part that's actually really tricky for Aquaman, and that is the orange that we want to use, or the orange torso piece that we want to use. So, of course, like always, we could, again, start with an end, really, with something as simplistic as this, which would be just plain orange. And this is the most accurate torso that you can get. Now, the problem is that it looks incredibly boring if it's just a flat color, right? It's kind of like, well, there's not even any, drawn lines for like muscle shading or anything. So it just does not look particularly good. So as far as actual options, well, we have the Arnim Zola torso, but that torso has a lot of purple on it, which sort of does not look particularly great in my opinion. Then we do have the option to go along and use the Hobgoblin torso, which again is at least better in my opinion than anything else that we have available. And if you want, I guess in theory, you could use the Okoi torso as well. Problem is, of course, it's the female torso for Okoi, and plus it has a way different shade of orange. Like, this almost looks like something you would see kind of for the movie Aquaman, where it's almost bronze orange or goldish orange, you know. It just does not look the right shade of orange at all. And the problem is that outside of those, there's nothing else to choose from. So if I scroll all the way down, as you can see, there's no other torso. So where does that leave us? Well, that means that we have to pick and choose between the Arnim Zola torso and the Hobgoblin torso, because those are really the two only options available. The Hobgoblin torso is the more correct color of orange, and the Arnim Zola torso is actually a bit more accurate as far as just the sculpting on it. So let's see what the arms selection will look like once we attach. You see, so this is what I was concerned with the Arnim Zola torso, is that the arm shade is going to be way different than what we're trying to pull off here. And there are no Arnim Zola arms, so that obviously does not work for us. So that means that unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you want to look at it, we're going to go on ahead and have to use the Hobgoblin torso for this particular design. And it's not ideal. Again, I absolutely agree. I mean, I really don't want to go with the flat orange. It's just going to look so boring. But you know what? It's more accurate than any of those other ones, so I might as well. You know what? This green now stands out way too much, because I was really trying to make that work, but it just looks better this way, doesn't it? He just honestly does look quite a bit better that way. Are there any cool shoulder pads we could throw on there? Onto the shoulders of Aquaman, just to make him feel a bit more unique? I don't think so. So with that out of the way, let's go on ahead and head to the weapon department. We're going to go to staves, staff type. So here's the tricky part. There is no trident. So this is kind of the closest thing to a trident, really, that they have. It's got like 2 spikes and a diamond in the middle. So that's what we're going to go with. And we're going to go with kind of a goldish hue on that, just like so. Then we shall go on ahead and head up to the abilities department. We won't give him grapple. We'll give him wall climbing. Why not? He's got super strength, so that would make sense. I'll give him mind control underwater, so it kind of makes sense. Cracked Lego walls. No deflectability. Vine cut, sure. No fix-its. Super strength. We'll give him tracking and digging as well. Then our regular tap ability will be fighting. Our hold ability will be... Actually, let's do the hold as a boomerang so you can throw the actual staff that he's holding. Then we'll do... I guess we could do bolts or... Actually, no. Let's do a force field. Like a water force field. Trying to see which actually looks good. Like what shade of blue is the best here. Yeah, I think this one is the best. Okay, so we've got a force field as well, and then the hold will be a beam. We'll call it ice, but we'll actually make it look like water, hopefully. As though he can release some water. There we go. It's like a hydro pump out of his hands. So it sort of works. Okay, we will give him a double jump, and I will give him a hyper jump as well, so you can like charge up jump, which will be great. His health icon will be, let's make it blue, just so it's kind of water-esque. Standard health, of course. Voices, that one's fine up there, I don't mind that. We'll make him fast, not super fast though. Blue is a perfect selection for Aquaman there. Miscellaneous has already been taken care of. Of course, we've got even our background image figured out. And with that in mind, ladies and gents, we have now completed our take on Aquaman. So with that all in mind, let's go on ahead and I guess let's travel to maybe, I don't even know where we want to go. Sakaar? Yeah, let's go to Sakaar, sure. So in Sakaar, we shall take a look at Aquaman himself. I really should have probably traveled to Adelan, right? Yeah. I'm like, this seems a lot more, or not Adelan, sorry, Lemuria. It's like, why would I not even think of that? Right away, yep, gotta go to Lemuria. So here we are, ladies and gents, with Aquaman. Of course, he's got his staff ability to throw. Then we do have our water beam underwater. Yep, it's like a SpongeBob episode where there's fires underwater. It's like, how does that even work? Don't think about it. It's too complicated. We got a water barrier, which is pretty cool. And with that all in mind, there you guys have it. That concludes the recipe for Aquaman. Of course, with that in mind, ladies and gents, don't forget to let me know down in the comment section below what you think of the Aquaman design. On top of that, I would really, really love to hear your opinions and thoughts on what other characters would you like to see recipes for in the future. Have an absolutely fantastic day. I will hopefully catch each and every single one of you lovely, lovely folks here next time. Peace out. I'll see you all later, alligators. Bye-bye, everyone.